Carolina Panthers minicamp started today, and we got some really cool storylines to talk about. Let's do it on the One Carolina Show. So the Carolina Panthers started minicamp today, and we got some really cool storylines. But first, I want to start with a few injury updates that we want to talk about. One being Jimmy Horn Jr., one of the crowd favorites, still not available today. Hopefully it's not a serious injury, but something that is still going on. So definitely prayers up for Jimmy Horn in the hamstring situation. Also, DJ Wanham came back today. We saw that. That was really cool. Tommy Tremble was still out, still available to be at practice, but not available to practice. And then the scariest situation was Xavier Legette. Kind of tweaked his ankle, it looked like. But from what we understand about the situation, wasn't serious, did get back in action. We did see that he had a pass from Bryce Young that was completed, and a few other things that we've seen, throughout the videos that were shared by all of the great Panther reporters out there. And salute to them, anybody that was, sharing information and sharing these videos, because obviously we can't be there. Minicamp we can never be there, but training camp we can't, so we rely on these guys to provide this kind of information and videos for us. So hopefully these injuries aren't too serious, especially the one to Legette. That was a little bit unnerving, but I look forward to seeing what he does moving forward, and hopefully he's rehabs that situation and doesn't become anything that lingers going into training camp. But we had a lot of good showings today. The number one offense was, cooking today. Saw different posts from different people. 7-on-7 was excellent for Bryce. Adam Thielen caught one in traffic. Man, I saw that at the end of the practice, Andy Dalton threw a bomb to Hunter Renfrow, 40 yards down the field. Renfrow, I believe, is going to make this team. I believe is going to have a huge impact on this team. Jalen Coker was back at practice, had been even at the end of OTAs, but showing a little more of that Coker that we seen last year, especially going down the stretch. Got to see some of McMillan, normal things. I know that there was a question about a drop that may have happened with McMillan. Gonna happen. Jamar Chase, once upon a time, dropping passes in training camp, dropping passes in preseason. So it's not like, the worst thing in the world. He's a rookie, gonna get the nerves out. He's around a lot better players than he was at Arizona. No disrespect to Arizona and their program, but it's just the facts. So this kind of stuff is gonna happen. You don't really put too much stock into it, but at the same time, if you're gonna drop passes, if you're gonna be working through this stuff, this is the time to be doing that. But man, some of the great news coming out of camp today, the kicking situation. Ryan Fitzgerald pretty much stole the day. 5 for 5 on kicks with a 58-yard bomb to end it on a skinny post, mind you. So that was something that was really cool to hear, considering the Carolina Panthers have had kicking woes, going years back, right? So if we can get someone that could be more consistent there and challenge the room a bit, which is what Dan Morgan and Dave Canales always preach, is that, challenging and creating, competition in each room. You want to see that. That's something really cool. So I look forward to seeing how that develops moving forward. Saw a really interesting thing that people were kind of buzzing about towards the end of this practice, and that's the Dave Canales presser, where he was talking about Bryce Young and J.C. Horn and Chuba kind of all going back and forth. And we'll take a listen to a little bit of that here.
Honestly, he gets really animated, and particularly if you're talking about sports, like he loves talking about NBA basketball, college sports during the season when we're going, when we're out here on the field, he just has that, I don't know what, he just has a defiance to him, and that's just kind of his way of competing. He's not super animated with it, but he definitely thrives off of that, feeds off of that energy, and he takes his, chances when he can, because JC's trying to bait him into throwing the ball over there, so.
See, I love this. This is the kind of energy that we've all been waiting for. I remember seeing a video from Cam Newton where he was talking to TD. And he was talking about how Luke and TD and Cam and, Jonathan Stewart and Steve, early on. And especially as Cam started to develop, Cam started to get more comfortable, with his role in Carolina. These guys would go back and forth in practice. We just hadn't really heard a lot of that. And to hear that Bryce is doing that, and I know that people would say, man, oh, here you go, Bryce Young's situation. But here's the importance of it, and this is what makes it so significant, is because it's Bryce Young. Because it's not the normal, because the tweets that were coming out that we're talking about was like, people are seeing Bryce Young act in a way that they haven't normally seen him act before, right? So you can tell that there's a comfort level that's here. We saw that last year. If you remember, had a chance to sit down with a Dunk from Unnecessary Bluntness Sports. We talked about the moment when Bryce was walking down the sideline, and you could see him and Dave Canales were having a little bit of an animated back and forth because of maybe some play calling, coming out of his shell. And what do you start to see? His play starts to develop, starts to get better, starts to feel more comfortable in the system. That's exactly what you want, right? We saw that same thing happen. Now, I know the picture that everybody's been going around showing, the pic of Cam Newton, and Josh Norman getting into their fight or whatever. And even I tweeted something that was like, Bryce going to slide on one of these dudes, and then this is going to be the thing that really takes us over the top. Now, who knows if that, is the case or not. But the point is that type of energy, that's what you want to see from your quarterback, because that sets the tone for the whole team. If Bryce starts jawing like that, and then you see all these tweets of Adam Thielen catching a pass in traffic, Hunter Renfrow catching a 40-yard bomb, or whoever, that stuff is just going to create energy for the other side to create more energy, which they need as well. They need those tone setters. Like we were looking at all the defensive pieces that we got. Nick Skirton. I saw the blueprint thing where Nick Skirton and Prince, we were talking about how, Nick was like, he's a guy that plays angry. You want that kind of stuff. Lathan Ransom is a tone setter, right? You've got all these different guys on the field that have an opportunity to really show who they are by the tone being set from the other side. Not sort of this timid stuff where it's like, okay, well, no, we can't really be ourselves or show that kind of personality. No, you want that. You want these guys showing animation. You want them to be, excited. This is the kind of stuff of leadership that we've been talking about all these years that have been missing, that I can't wait to see how this develops moving forward. I know another thing that people were talking about was, all of the people that we've been seeing, the players, I should say, that we've been seeing that have been coming available. Guys like Jermaine Pratt or still Jalen Ramsey, Justin Blackmon. Some of these players out there that we could benefit from getting. And it's, there's a chance that I would say that at least one of those guys is probably going to be considered for Carolina. Blackmon specifically because of his, already visit. Maybe Jalen Ramsey, maybe not. Maybe Jermaine Pratt, maybe not. One of the things I am looking forward to, though, is development. Because I know the linebacker spot is one of the more, I guess, considered to be one of the more weaker spots on this defense. With Josie Jewell coming back, we signed Christian Roseboom, and then Trevin Wallace. And honestly, Trevin Wallace is the one that I'm looking to see develop the most. Now, I think there will be rotational opportunities for him, but I kind of like to roll with Trevin and see what, Dan seems to be very, very high on Trevin Wallace. So I'd like to trust his judgment on this and let him develop, as opposed to bringing in a guy that is a sure fit, right? He's going to come in and immediately have an impact. But if you do that, you're kind of stymieing the development of one Trevin Wallace. And I would just like to see something, different be done than that. But if they decide to do that, I'd be on board with it either way. But like I said, guys, super excited about this season coming forward. Day 2 of minicamp will be coming up soon. I think this is only a 2-day event, so we'll cover both days. There's a lot of really cool storylines that we'll be able to talk about moving forward and going and leading up into training camp. And I think this is going to shape out to be a very, very good season for the Carolina Panthers. I'm looking more for just consistency than anything else. I'm not setting my expectations too high. I'm not saying we're going to win 10-plus games or anything like that. I've been guilty of that before, right? But what I do think is that we're going to build off the momentum from last year, that final win against the Falcons, and they're going to put something together that I think will be very special for us fans moving forward. So if this is your first time on the channel, make sure to like and subscribe, set your bell notification, leave a comment, let me know what you think about the minicamp practices today, and I'll see you guys again soon. Till next time, keep pounding.